our very first episode of Qyssa. We are very excited to introduce Qyssa to you. I'm Shahmeen
And I'm Saba, and we are the co-founders of
Qyssa.
Qyssa is a women-centric talking brand. So in this first episode, we want to share the journey of Qyssa with you, how it came about and what our podcast format is going to be going forward. So I want to start with you, Shahmeen, because you are literally why Qyssa happened in the first place. So tell me about what you wanted to do initially.
So for many years, I've wanted to curate a book. I've been meaning to write a book about women and achievements of women, inspiring stories of women. Of course, I never got around to do that, and then both of us met each other in October at a playbook event, and I think that got us motivated, and Qyssa happened.
All right. So this book that you wanted to write, what were the obstacles? Like, why did that never happen?
I think it never happened because I myself am a very visual person. I now like looking at things more than reading things. So that was always keeping me behind on my targets for the book. And I think a visual directory like Qyssa would be something that inspires me more than reading, obviously.
Why do it in the first place? Like, what motivates you to be able to do that?
To empower other women, to enable other women, to get those stories out there that can change lives. There are amazing women, Pakistani women we are around in Bahrain who have a story to tell. And I think this should give those women a platform. In fact, every woman a platform.
Yeah.
So Saba, you and I have known each other for the past 10 years, on and off. We met at weddings,
gyms, here and
yes.
there.
And both of us got motivated together to start Qyssa.
Yes.
But what was your motivation?
Okay, that's a very good question because I've been born and brought up in Bahrain. I've lived here all my life, and you wouldn't believe it if I said that I've never been to Pakistan, not even once in my life, and that I hope to change that in the future. But I think for me, that day when I met you at the Playbook event, I went in with, and I didn't know I was going to meet you there, but I went in with a very clear intention. For years now, I think I've been missing something. I didn't know what it was, and that was to connect more with women who I can really relate to, and that's Pakistani women. And so I went in with a clear intention of meeting more Pakistani women, and I happened to meet you and 2-3 more wonderful women in that event, and I'm so grateful for it because I think having never been to Pakistan, but still living in
missing out on the food.
Not missing out on the food though, because that's the thing. So there's parts of the culture that are obviously in us, right? So we eat the food, we wear the clothes, which reminds me, I'm not wearing my Pakistani clothes today, so I'm gonna actually have a quick change.
Wow, Saba, and we're actually matching.
We're matching.
Yeah.
Black is the new black.
Black is the new black.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So we were talking about identity. So my Pakistani identity is obviously very much related to the food that I eat, to the women that I know from my school. But I feel like I still need to know more women, more power women out there because I'm a business owner, and whenever I see business owners around there, you know, they're all different nationalities, but I want to see more Pakistani women. So that's why I came into Playbook, and I met you, and I met a lot of other wonderful women, and I want to just build my connection with Pakistan a little bit more.
Inshallah, we will do this together.
All right, so let's jump into it. We want to take you through what our podcast is going to be structured like. So obviously after our intros, we're usually going to have a wonderful guest. Most of the times it's going to be a wonderful Pakistani woman, but we also hope to bring on big Bahraini names as well because we are in fact based in Bahrain. We're always going to share with you a drink or a food of the day, which is going to be Pakistani.
And right now we have our Doodh Patti chai.
Doodh Patti, yes. Which is just like karak.
But I think in Pakistan we add a lot of elaichi, cardamom in it, and we cook it a bit longer.
Yeah.
And
with the milk in it.
And whoever loves this, loves it.
We love it, even though it's cold. Alright, so after our wonderful guest segment, we're also going to share some tiny Qyssas with you. And these are Qyssas that you all are sharing with us. So we have a survey out there, and in fact, please go and fill out our survey. It's on our link in bio and all our social media and on our website. It asks you what you feel success is like for you as a woman. And also, you have a chance there to share a tiny Qyssa, which will feature at the end of every podcast episode. So let's get into it. I really want to know more about you, Shahmeen, because ever since I met you, well, I've met you a long time before, but ever since I've gotten to know you, and you guys, this is going to happen a lot on the podcast, I will be fangirling a lot over Shahmeen. Because every time I meet her, she gives me some nuggets of, wisdom that I'm just like blown away by. And we'll always talk about these things. So how long have you been in Bahrain and away from Pakistan?
So I've been in Bahrain for the last 13 years, and this is like home now. Home away from home, and my kids have literally grown up here. So this is where I feel I belong, but yes, my identity is Pakistani, and that's what will always be inside me.
So what does being a Pakistani mean to you?
So being Pakistani to me is belonging. So I belong from that region. I belong from Pakistan. I was born and brought up in Karachi, which is a cosmopolitan hustle bustle, and that's where it all started. I mean, one can never pinpoint what it means to be a Pakistani, but I guess it's in you.
Yeah.
It's those little. It's a lot of things. It's patriotism. It's the culture. It's your growth.
Yeah.
That's Pakistani.
Absolutely. I think also because again, you were like Pakistani born and brought up there, and for me, I've never been there, but still, I feel like you're right. There is this connection that you can never
Erase.
explain
Or erase.
or
Yes.
erase. And I think if you try to keep running away from it or try to fit in somewhere else, it just doesn't work because you have history, you have ancestors that have been part of that land, and that could be true for any country that you belong to, right? So I think for me there was this hole which I feel is kind of now being like becoming smaller.
Yes.
Yeah, it's becoming smaller and smaller because I'm meeting more Pakistani women, especially, and I'm trying to feel like I fit in somewhere. And that being said, I mean, Bahrain is a wonderful place.
It is, and I think what I wanted to say that is that Bahrain has welcomed us.
Yes.
And it has welcomed the expats, and you don't feel you don't feel alienated. You feel like you're here with your people.
Yeah.
And Bahrain gives you that love.
Bahrain gives
It does. It's like and I tell my friends it's like a bubble.
Yeah.
It just engulfs you.
Yes. True, absolutely.
People are warm, you have opportunities, and yes, there are things that you look for. You look for your community people, you want to bind with them, but you also are welcomed by others.
Yeah. And so for me, this has been the breakthrough for me, where I don't question now, I don't fit in Bahrain completely because my ancestry is from somewhere else, my culture is from somewhere else, my food, my clothes, all of these things. But I feel like now I'm more happy to say that I feel like a Pakistani in Bahrain, and that is a wonderful feeling, to get that identity. We are Pakistanis in Bahrain, and we love both these countries.
We do.
And,
We love them both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bahrain has done amazing things for me.
Yes.
I own a business in Bahrain, and the business community has been so welcoming. The government has been so welcoming, and so supportive in everything that we have done. So it's definitely, a question of finding your identity and being proud of both these identities that you're Pakistani living in Bahrain. So tell me this: what's your favorite Pakistani food?
So my favorite Pakistani food would be biryani, and biryani is very different in different provinces. I do love the Sindhi biryani, which is mostly with a lot of potatoes, and so it's very spicy. Also, it's yummy. I love biryani.
Do you make it?
I make it. I may not be that great with it, but you get great Pakistani biryani in Bahrain, so you don't miss it. Not from my house, from different restaurants.
Okay.
And that's where it is. And that's again one thing I love about Bahrain. You find your food.
Yeah, you do. I mean, and biryani is it's so different in so many different places, right? There's a Bahraini style biryani, there's a Pakistani style, there's like...
And Pakistani style has different styles as well.
Yeah.
There's Sindhi biryani, there's a
Hyderabadi
pulao
biryani.
biryani, Hyderabadi biryani is more Indian.
Okay.
But yes, we also have have a recipe for that.
Right.
So there are various sorts of biryanis in Pakistan.
I think if I were to choose my Pakistani favorite food, it would be halim.
Halim.
Yeah. And as I was telling you, it's because I'm lazy. I don't like to choose, so you know, you get all the nutrition. It's like a food. Halim is like this mixture of like dals, different types of lentils and beans and meat, and it's like I think the equivalent to what they have in Bahrain called haris, which is, but that's more like.
And I think we should go around
yes
and find the best Pakistani halim in Bahrain.
Where have you?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that soon.
Let's
do that soon.
Should
Yeah.
do food halim tour.
Yes.
Should do
Yes.
halim tour in Bahrain.
Coming soon, everyone. Halim tour.
Halim tour. Alright, now coming back to Qyssa, what do you hope someone can take away from our Qyssas, for example?
I feel we're all ordinary women with extraordinary talents.
Nice.
Okay?
Like
And I feel each one of us has something inside us, even if we feel we don't have it. So I feel explore this with us. You know, you can be inspiring if you have achieved being a great mother, or you feel that you've overcome a challenge, or that you've just gone about your day being you. So I feel that each one of us has a story behind, and each one of us can learn from each other's stories.
Yeah.
That's, for me, that is the Qyssa we take home.
I would completely agree with you, and I think people's understanding of what a successful woman looks like is very much like one thing. If she's famous, or if she's doing good in business, or whatever it is, and what you're saying is really amazing, because a successful woman can be a success in her home as well. A successful woman could be a very good friend, for example. And there's so many different stories that we can share, that we hope to share on our platform, is all these different types of women that come and inspire us with their stories of challenges and change, and you know, just
Even I feel good advice.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I remember many years ago, I was upset with a friend, and then I discussed with another friend, and I just remember how that other friend advised me to let it go, and that changed my opinion about that whole scenario. So I think women empower each other by advice, or by their nuggets of wisdom,
yeah, or just by listening to each other.
or by listening to each
Yeah,
other.
sometimes that's all we need. We just want people listening to us, and then not telling us what to do, but like just, again, as you said, just some nuggets of advice, like what would I do in that situation. So with that being said, let's actually share our Qyssas, because we're ordinary women with extraordinary skills and stories. So tell me more about your background, Shahmeen.
So I'm an architect by profession. I graduated from the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, which is in Karachi. After having graduated, three of us, late girls, we got together and opened our own consultancy. I ran it for 10 years, during which I was teaching interior design at the university as well, raising 3 kids, and then moved to Bahrain. And once I moved to Bahrain, of course, my kids were younger, I was not working, but I think in me was a philanthropist. I call myself a self-motivated philanthropist. Reason being because my mother was my inspiration, who was bedridden for several years, and would have these, and would work on these social causes while she was lying down. And I think that became very organic, it became part of our lives, and I continued doing that. So for the last 10-12 years, I have been working on social projects, awareness campaigns, welfare projects in Pakistan, developed teams there organically, again, met great people through that, worked for an awareness campaign for Pakistan with the First Lady of Pakistan, Mrs. Sameena Alvi, and then of course joined PWA here, and I'm currently heading the Pakistani Women's Association.
That is amazing. Extraordinary story.
And Saba,
Yes.
talking about you now,
Yes.
you are a tech guru, something that I could never think of myself, like, is that, which I admire a lot, because I would not be able to do, is that, and you're a tech guru, right? Yes, you are. And you have your own design studio, and you have some amazing branding ideas, and you recently won something as well.
I did.
So please, you have to tell us about what you do and all these wins. What are those all about?
Oh, well, all these wins, there's not a lot, there's a few, but alhamdulillah.
No,
So-
we embrace every win, okay?
We do,
Yeah,
absolutely, you're right. So my background actually is not in much. I'm a generalist, as they say. So I graduated high school. I never furthered my study. I never went for any higher education. I started working straight away. I remember my first job was doing surveys in Bahrain Mall at the time for people. And then I loved playing video games. So that was like my escape. So I think my love for tech comes from creating things in a space which everyone can enjoy and mediums everyone can enjoy. So I started work then, and one of my first full-time jobs was actually with my mentor currently. His name is Suhail Al-Qusaybi. He's a well-known entrepreneur and mentor actually in Bahrain, and I'm so glad to have found him. And under him I studied a lot of things. So I became a general manager, and that's where we first met, in one of his companies. And then I also went with him into his consulting firm as a consultant. So everything that I've learned in my life is actually self-learned. So I think that is something that I'm really proud of, that I continue to learn to this
And that
day.
is what we admire the most.
But actually, when I was at the consultancy, because Sohail used to mentor different startup entrepreneurs, and I met some of the startup entrepreneurs. I had no idea what the startup field is at that time. And then I visited some incubators where they have these co-working spaces, and it just absolutely fascinated me. And at the same time, I was like, kind of in a space where I was turning 35. And then I really wanted more out of life. I wanted to do something for myself. And so I went on this journey of what do I want to do, and I realized it was video games. I want to make video games. So I grabbed my husband, and I was like, let's co-found something of our own and create something big. And we co-founded Story Studio, which was a game development studio. We created many games for change. This was our goal. We wanted to create games for real world causes, to bring awareness to these causes. We worked on a project called Deep Blue Dump. It was a game about plastic pollution. It was about a little turtle. So, and it made a lot of difference with people who were playing it. And then we had more projects, and then, as you know, COVID happened, things didn't work out. And this year I morphed my studio into a one-woman graphic design agency on subscription. And the weekend that you're talking about, the win that recently happened was, it was Startup Weekend, which happened over the weekend. And I met two wonderful Bahraini women there, and together we created a project for a smart jewelry brand, which actually you will see very soon. It is coming to life. So that's the most recent win, which is in IoT and deep tech. So yeah, I love tech, and I love doing wonderful things in the tech field. And I'm proud to be a Pakistani woman doing that in Bahrain.
We are very proud of you as well.
So we just briefly touched on both our stories. You will hear more of our stories in future episodes. But you wanted to share something before we wrap up?
Yes, and before we wrap up today, I would like to share about this book. It's Pakistan Heritage Cuisine. It's a food story, and this has been written by Mrs. Saida Lagari. This book has won the Best in the World Government award. It's a cookbook award. I think as a Pakistani and as a woman, I am really proud that this exists.
Can I see? So is it all Pakistani food?
It's all Pakistani food. It has food stories. It's a weird Qyssa. This is a food Qyssa. And this talks about...
It's beautiful.
It is so beautifully curated. It talks about the main foods of Pakistan.
This has things in it that I've never tried.
Yes, and we will try this on the way.
Oh, we should.
For example, the korma story of how it came about. The story of the Lahori fried fish.
So one of the things that we want to do is actually share one of the foods in their history in every episode with you.
And I think, what? We should get other people to taste our food.
We should.
I mean, those of us here who have friends who'd like to taste food, Pakistani food,
friends.
Non-Pakistani friends
Yes.
who'd like to taste Pakistani food, please DM us.
Yes, we'd love to have people.
We would love to see your reaction. We would love to see how you love the food.
So that's it for our first podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're looking for collaborators, so please get in touch with us. If you want your Qyssa to be here, if you would like to be our guest, if you would like to showcase your product or your food, please do get in touch with us. We'd love to work with you. We also have an ongoing survey on all our Qyssa pages where you can share your opinions. You can also share your tiny Qyssas, which we'll read out from next episode onwards. And follow us on our socials. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are on YouTube as Qyssa_. And we are going to be on all the major podcast platforms where we will be sharing stories of Pakistani women, Pakistani food, Pakistani innovation and Pakistani relationships.
Pakistani relationships with our Bahraini
Absolutely.
friends,
And a lot more. So see you next time.
see you.
Bye.
Bye bye.